Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Quick transfer updates, not a quick one, a lot to talk about. We will be talking about the latest on obviously our goalkeeping situation, David Raya, and also Matt Turner. Matt Turner actually lifted the Community Shield yesterday. I was so happy for him. I was like, yeah, like literally the final day as an Arsenal player. He's lifting a trophy. Why not? Well done to him, but he is about to leave Arsenal. We'll also be talking about the latest on Folarin Balogun, as always, is back in the news. It's almost definite that he's not going to be an Arsenal player next season. I mean, even without Jesus, even if Nketiah dropped injured today as well, just like Jesus, like I don't think Balogun would stay. That's how bad it is. And also we'll be talking about Jorginho. Could Jorginho end up leaving Arsenal? Like that would be a blow if you actually left, because I don't think you have enough midfield numbers if you start letting the likes of Jorginho leave. I don't think it's enough. So let's get started with the latest on Matt Turner. According to David Ornstein earlier on today, he said Nottingham Forest have reached an agreement with Arsenal to sign goalkeeper Matt Turner. The US international is scheduled to undergo Nottingham Forest medical later today. Arsenal working to finalize deal for David Raya from Brentford, according to the Athletic FC. So that's David Ornstein on David Ryan, also Matt Turner. But first up, Matt Turner, obviously we know he's about to leave. His Arsenal career never really got to take off. He only played like 7 games for Arsenal, so I don't think we really got to see every single detail about Matt Turner's game, like in tough games, or he's going to be at saving shot after shot after shot, or games that the other team is going to put in cross after cross after cross to test his aerial ability, or games where he'll literally have nothing to do and maybe he'll be called upon once or twice in a game later on. Like we never got to see every single detail like that and every kind of test like that for Martin. Unfortunately, we only got to see him in a couple of Europa League games and Carabao Cup games. Not enough to really judge someone, but I do actually think he's going to shine at Nottingham Forest. He's going to have a lot of some games is going to have to defend a lot. Some games is going to have to basically save them a lot. It's going to be a lot of work over at Nottingham Forest. Especially, I've seen people's predictions. A lot of people are predicting Nottingham Forest to go down this season, second season syndrome and all that. So he'll have to be very, very good for them to survive. So let's see what happens with him. But the other issue was, how much are we going to get for him? We wanted to get around at least 15 million for him, but there was talk about us potentially getting like 5 or 6 million for him. That's terrible. For the starting goalkeeper for USA, he only starts for them. For us to get just that 5-6 million would have been terrible. So at least that looks like it's gone to double figures. According to Ryan Taylor Sport, Martin at Nottingham Forest is a 10 million deal, including add-ons. So 10 million is still cheap. I would have loved like 15 million, because like Man City would sell like their 5th choice goalkeeper for 20 million to a championship team. Like they easily get money like that. But for us, with Matt Turner, who's been our 2nd choice goalkeeper last season, a US international, we were talking about potentially getting 6-7 million for him. That would have been terrible. So 10 million, I think that includes add-ons. So you say like maybe 8 million plus 2 million add-ons. We might end up getting that 10 million in terms of the full package, but we might not. That add-on could be like if Nottingham Forest stay up, and if they get relegated, you don't really get that money. So it would be a down as well, because also we are about to pay a lot of money for David Raya, around like just a bit, maybe 30 million. So I would have loved to like gotten like 15 million for Matt, and so they basically look like you're spending 15 million on David Raya, because you're getting the money from our 2nd choice goalkeeper. But it doesn't look like it. But all the best to David Raya, obviously at Arsenal, but all the best to Matt Turner over at Nottingham Forest. We will be watching him. At least he will be in the Premier League, so we'll get to see what he's made of. We never really got to see what he's made of at Arsenal, just a few games here and there. But I think he will actually shine for Nottingham Forest. So all the best to him. But we're here to talk about the ones who are going to potentially join Arsenal. So what's the latest on David Raya? According to James Bench, let's start with James Bench report on this. Arsenal are very close to securing the services of David Raya from Brentford. According to sources close to negotiations, Arsenal's opening offer may have been turned down, but there is will from all parties to agree a deal. So this one looks like it's going to be easier than like getting Declan Rice from West Ham, because the one for Declan Rice wanted to join Arsenal. Arsenal fans wanted Declan Rice to join, but it seemed like West Ham did not want Declan Rice to join Arsenal. They wanted him to go to Man City and them to get like 200 million or something for him. Their fans also didn't really want him to join Arsenal. But for this one, David Raya, like he wants to join Arsenal. His team is happy to sell him. Arsenal want him, so I think the cards are good. Like the cards are looking good on this transfer. How much you're going to potentially pay for him? I think it's going to end up being like 30 million. That's still a lot of money for presumably a second choice goalkeeper, but I think he's actually going to rotate with Ramsdale. Weird. I never really feel like goalkeepers need to rotate, especially in the bigger competitions. But I'd not be surprised if Ramsdale plays in the Premier League and Raya plays in the Champions League, or they rotate in terms of depending on games. Like games where like Everton are going to put in cross and all that. Like we could play with Ramsdale, and then games where you just needed to like ping a long ball over to the strikers. We could go with someone like a David Raya. What about Chris Whitley's reports on this one? He says Arsenal are finalizing details in the move for David Raya. The Spaniards moved to the Emirates is set to be confirmed this week. So yeah, I don't think this is going to proceed to the start of the season. I think this one is going to be done before the start of the season. And in the first game against Nottingham Forest, I think we will actually, I've just remembered, we are playing Nottingham Forest, right? We'll actually come up against Martin in the first game. Oh no! Actually just hit me. You're going to play Nottingham Forest, and Martin is going to be the goalkeeper. That would be crazy. Like if we come up against Martin in the very very first game. I don't know how quickly this deal will be done, but Nottingham Forest actually don't really have a goalkeeper right now. So if they sign him right now, he's going to start, and he's definitely going to play against us because it's not going to be a loan deal. It's a permanent transfer. So I imagine he actually makes like 6-7 incredible saves and he keeps a clean sheet. That would be terrible. But for David Raya, I think he will at least be on the bench for that game against Nottingham. I think by then everything will be done. That will be our fourth signing through the door, and then potentially we'll be trying to look for a fifth signing. I don't think anyone can predict what the fifth signing will be. It could be a striker, it could be a right wing, it could even be another fullback, it could be another midfielder. Who knows? You could even go for a third choice goalkeeper. Like we don't know who the third player will, our fifth player will be. And also another thing is we don't know what kind of signing it will be. Will it be another like 60, 70 million kind of deal? Will it be like a cheaper deal, like a Trossard, like later in the transfer, 20, 25 million deal? Will it be a loan deal? Remember a couple of years ago, we got the likes of Odegaard on loan, Sabas on loan. We don't really do that a lot in terms of loan deals, but it could. Or it could even be a free transfer. The players who are currently free in the market, and we don't have to pay anything for them. We just need to talk in terms of the wages. It could be any of those deals. Like no one is going to predict that as of now. But Chris Whitley says that we are finalizing the move for David Raya. So in terms of fee, we are waiting to hear what the fee will be. Obviously, a couple of days ago, Fabrizio confirmed that David Raya had reached an agreement with Arsenal. Brentford have been informed by the player that he wants to join Arsenal. So this is still a weird one, that David Raya actually wants to join Arsenal, more because we're not a good team or anything, but just because we have Ramsdale. Like for him, he would know that Ramsdale is one of the best goalkeepers in the league, and there's no guarantee of me going there and displacing him. Like he's so close to being the starting goalkeeper for Spain. Like I think he usually like his backup to is it the Atletico Bilbao goalkeeper? I think Unai Simon, and also sometimes Kepa. Like he's there, he's in and around. And Kepa recently and De Gea have not really been picked by Spain. It's usually Simon, him, and Sanchez. Sanchez himself has dropped down to like the third choice goalkeeper for Brighton. So it's basically him up against Unai Simon. So David Raya is so close to being the first choice goalkeeper Spain. So for him to come to Arsenal and then potentially be on the bench for an entire season, it would ruin him. So this is a very interesting one. Whatever has told him, whatever Edu has told him, maybe they've promised him, hey, you're going to be playing all the Champions League games. If you impress, next season you're the one who's going to play in the Premier League games. Or maybe they've just been like, hey, you're going to rotate out of the 38 Premier League games and hopefully like around 10 Champions League games and 3-4 FA Cup games. If you go to the final, like 7 of them, like out of like the 50 games, you're going to play at least 25 rounds. Is going to play 25. There's going to be a lot of rotation. You're going to learn from each other. I don't know. Maybe they've promised him that, and we'll also hear in terms of wages and all that how much he's going to get paid, so that we'll know whether he's here for the money. I don't really think so. He's really here for the project and everything. Let's wait and see what happens with that one. But David Raya, I'm sure this week we'll hear this deal going through, and also the Matt Turner. It could be as early as tomorrow, and then potentially Wednesday. Both deals are done. Usually these days, Arsenal don't like selling players before buying, just like we did with Xhaka. We waited for Rice and Havertz to join and then let go of Xhaka. So I don't think we let go of Matt Turner before we get David Raya. I don't think so, because all of a sudden, what if David Raya doesn't join? We only have Ramsdale and Ranasson, and goodness me, you don't want Jonathan to play for you in the Champions League. So that's the latest on David Raya. So let's talk about Jorginho. Obviously, he was not in the team the other day. This weekend against Man City. It was actually a blow. I don't know if he was left out because of an injury. He was left out because we had already had 9 players on the bench. I mean, the likes of Fabio Vera, there, Smith Rowe, the likes of Tierney. But there's a couple of players who I think was holding. One of them was like, yeah, obviously you could have Jorginho there instead of holding because you already have Kivio and Tierney and Tomiyasu on the bench, 3 defenders. So I don't know what the reason was. And then those rumors about Jorginho potentially leaving. I was like, no, please don't like Jorginho leave. But this is what Sam Dean has had to say about this one today. Arsenal midfielder Jorginho is understood to have no intention of leaving the club this summer. It has been reported in Turkey that Jorginho wants to move away, but Telegraph Sports understands he is keen to stay at Arsenal and fight for his place in the team. Like, I actually saw some people saying Jorginho needs to leave, he's not good enough. Listen, if you have other options, if you had Caicedo and Partey and Rice, and you look at the bench, you have this one and that, and you're like, okay, fine, maybe he doesn't have to stay. But right now, even if that's said, I still feel it's going to help us a lot. He's really going to help us. That is a guy that would not really feel like scared if he starts. Like in a game like at home against Everton, we're starting with Jorginho and be like, hey, he's a guy who's played in the Premier League for like 4 years. He's won a lot of big competitions. He knows what this is all about. Even in the Champions League, even if he was to start in the Champions League or even come on as a sub whenever we need to like just dominate position and kill the game off, he can help in terms of that. And also just to help Rice and Partey, everyone to rotate and everyone to wrestle. By the time we get to March and April, everyone has had enough rest. There will be international breaks as usual, so the likes of Partey will have to play for World Cup qualifiers. The likes of Declan Rice, like these games that are coming up for international as well, are big games for all these countries, World Cup qualifiers. So they'll have to put on their energy as well. So you never know what injury is going to be picked up, and you need players like Jorginho to be in the team. And not only that, like there's a lot also these small things like him never missing a penalty. You never know, it could be in a very crucial quarterfinal somewhere, and Jorginho is there to help us take that penalty. It could help. And also just in terms of experience, this is what Sam Dean also had to say about him. As one of the older players in the Arsenal squad, 31-year-old Jorginho has quickly established himself as an important figure at the club, and I'm not surprised at all. I feel like in terms of even let's just start with midfield. In terms of Declan Rice and Partey, yes, Partey's past 30 as well, but I feel like someone like a Declan Rice can learn a thing or two from Jorginho. I'd not be surprised if Jorginho can learn a thing or two from Partey and vice versa. And just all the young players. We have so many young players in the team. Saka, Martinelli, obviously the likes of Saliba, all those players. Obviously, Ramsdale as well. There's a lot of them who are very young. And then if you add the experience of Jorginho, of Partey, of Jesus, of Zinchenko, of Trossard, it's a good mix. You balance the team. Like have half players who are young, half players who are like 28, 29, 30. It definitely helps the team. And he might not help like Saka in terms of like the pitch and skill and all that, but it can actually help him in a couple of other ways, like mentality and getting that mentality injected into those players. And also, you can just teach Saka, hey, listen, when I have the ball and Partey has the ball, you can make this run, you can make this run. It can work rather than making this run or that run. Like you never know, like it can really help in terms of that. And I do feel like he's one of the best passers of the ball in our team. Like we saw it recently in the preseason. He is pretty good. Like he's always connecting with all the players, talking to Tomiyasu, talking to Fabio Vieira. I've seen him a couple of times. The Brazilian guys, the Gabriels and all that. So I think having Jorginho in the team is better than not having Jorginho in the team. So I'm 100% happy with him staying. Let's hope he stays. One player that is definitely not going to stay is Folarin Balogun. So what's the latest on him? According to reports from Gazzetta, Folarin Balogun has told Mikel Arteta that he wants to play for Inter Milan. Inter plan to make an offer of 30 million plus 5 million bonuses, including a large sale on percentage. So including a large sale on percentage. So large sale on percentage. Okay, so first up, in terms of that, he's told Mikel Arteta he wants to play for Inter Milan. I think it's pretty obvious now. Like the other day, he was posting pictures on his Instagram with R9 wearing the Inter Milan shirt and scoring goals. That just basically indicates him being the number 9 for Inter Milan and scoring goals. Like that's so obvious. So it doesn't seem like Balogun wants to stay. Whoever you're going to blame, I don't know. I personally don't blame Arteta or Edu or saying, oh, he should start 100%. He's not a starter for Arsenal. Jesus is the starter for Arsenal. Balogun, should have been patient. According to me, he should have been patient. I'm sure if he would have been patient, he'd have gotten his chance eventually. But if you come the first and you start saying, okay, listen, I'm not staying here unless I'm the first choice striker, I don't like players like that. It's good to have ambition and all that, but we've just seen Arsenal have had a really good season, so you cannot just join that team and become a first choice instantly. No one becomes first choice instantly. Like even players like Trossard are struggling to get into the first team, and they're the best players. But you wouldn't hear Trossard throwing a tantrum all of a sudden. So if Balogun was a bit patient, I'm sure Arteta would have given him a chance. Oh, go to a Premier League team on loan for another year, come back next season. Arsenal have built even more and join this team. You never know. Nketiah might not be here by then. Who knows? Jesus might not be here by then. Maybe he'll be the first choice striker. But coming back and saying, okay, need to start. I'm the first choice striker. If I don't, I want to leave. I'm sorry, you're going to leave. We are going to let you go. So I actually have no problem with Balogun leaving. Also, Inter Milan plan to offer 30 million plus 5 million bonuses, 35 million euros. That's like 30 million pounds. That's no good, man. We are looking for 50 million. Actually, Arsenal value him at 50 million. So getting just that kind of fee for him, 30 million and 5 million, I think, in bonuses. I don't think that's good enough. I think Inter Milan need to add that money, especially if I think they've sold a couple of players. They need to give us that money. So if not, just as I said for Balogun and Pat and all those guys, we don't really have to sell them, If you give us good money, we can sell them. But I've actually changed my mind about Partey since then. I think Partey has to stay, like even if he gets 70 million. For Balogun, if you're not giving us 45 to 50 million, we don't really have to sell him, so he can stay. But Inter Milan are offering a huge sell-on percentage. I think that in terms of sell-on clause, like if Inter Milan sell him in the future, we get a big percentage from that. I mean, that should work. But that obviously depends on whether he's going to shine over there. I mean, if he doesn't do well there, we don't really get a huge sum. But if he goes to Inter Milan 2 seasons and he scores 25 goals and scores another 25 goals, and then Inter Milan end up selling him for like 90 million or 100 million, the way they did someone like a Lukaku, we get like 25 million from that or something. That would be good business. But let's hope. And I don't think they're going to have like a sell-on clause of 25% or something. But let's wait and see what Arsenal will do with Balogun. I don't want players who are going to disrupt the team. And I feel like if he's still here during the season, he's going to disrupt the team a bit. Also, according to the Atletico, David Ornstein on Balogun, Arsenal reject written bid from Monaco. So Monaco also wants Balogun. Follows a verbal offer turned down by Arsenal after friendly. Monaco pursuit ongoing. Sporting directors of good relationship. Inter keen, but Enclave can afford. So we played Monaco last week in the Emirates Cup. Obviously, looks like they had a meeting right after that. Monaco asking for Balogun. Maybe they're like, hey, Balogun is not playing. Maybe you could ask for this guy. And Monaco did look like a good side that day. They did miss a couple of chances, so maybe a striker is what they need. If they're going to get a striker, maybe they'll do well in League A. So let's see what happens with that as well. But the written bid from Monaco has been turned down. Hopefully they didn't come with something stupid like 25 million or 30 million as well. We are not going to accept that. I don't think that is enough at all. We need enough money for Balogun. Like recently, Arsenal have never really sold players. Like we can go back a lot of years ago. Like Ramsey, free. Sanchez, free. Ozil, cancelled contract. Mustafi, free. Socrates, I think we cancelled the contract. Mkhitaryan, we cancelled the contract. Aubameyang left on a free. Lacazette left on a free. Like players, like someone like Alexis Sanchez, he was like at the top of his game for like 3 years at Arsenal. We could easily have gotten like 70 million for him. Ozil, like if you'd sell him after the 2015-2016 season when he had like 19 assists, we could have sold him for like 80 million after we had bought him for 42. That's how much we got him for those players. But we had to let them go on a free because of poor planning and all that, and those players, some of them wanting to leave. This is like the first time we have opportunity to sell players. So players like Balogun, if he wants to leave, we have to get money. If Tierney wants to leave, we have to get money. Goalkeepers like Tana, if they want to leave, we get money. Austin Trusty, we get a little bit of money. Pablo Mai, and the team that we have remaining now, like I think any of them leaves right now, we get a bunch of money for them. I don't want any of them to leave, but right now, if you had to sell Saka, we are talking 100 million or something. If you had to sell Gabriel, if imagine if you had to sell Saliba, we'd get like 200 million for him. So we have a team that we don't really have to sell, and the team that has value. That's why we're the most valuable team. I think in the Premier League right now, on top of Man City in terms of just having players who are more valuable, Saka, Rice, and all those guys. I think we're in a very good position. And right now, if you're going to sell any players, we are going to sell them on a at a high fee. So that's the latest on Balogun, the latest on Matan as well, the latest on Jorginho and David Raya. I think there will be a lot of developments. We are now only 5 days away from our first Premier League game. I cannot wait for it to get started. Let me know what you make about all that. Thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you on the next one.